Hello, my friends. It's Nick, the ASMR nerd. And inside this unassuming brown box, I have some of the most exciting keycaps to have crossed my desk in quite a while. And today we're going to be checking out those keycaps and putting them on a board to hear them and see them in action. What sets these keycaps apart is that they are 100% metal. They are made of 100% metal. As you probably know, most conventional keycaps are made from plastic, usually ABS or PBT plastics. You can find other more exotic materials as well, especially if you branch out into Artisan keycaps, but all metal keycaps are pretty much unheard of, at least in a full set. Now, I did make a video some years ago where I constructed an all-metal keyboard using metal keycaps, but those were an assortment of keycaps that I cobbled together from various AliExpress stores. The finish was not consistent, the quality was not consistent, the coloration was not consistent. This is a totally different beast. These keycaps are from a company called Awekeys. Awekeys, that's Awekeys, as in I'm in awe of these keys. And it's an appropriate name because they make some very impressive keycaps. This is not their first product. You might be familiar with Awekeys from their periodic table keycaps. Periodic table Artisan keycaps, which they released, I think, earlier this year, if memory serves. And those ones used particular metals and finishes to look like metals from the periodic table, chemical elements. So there's gold, silver, titanium, platinum, these sorts of things. But that was not a full set. Those were singular, sort of one-off Artisan keycaps that one might use as an accent keycap or, an accent row or something like that. Here we have Awekeys' next project, which is their full set of full metal keycaps used or made using recycled metal material. So these keycaps are made from recycled metal, which reduces the carbon footprint and reduces waste. And today we're going to get a little preview look at these. These metal keycaps are not yet available for sale at the time of recording and probably the time of publication, but if you're interested in them, you can check them out and sign up on Awekeys' mailing list. Down below in the video description, you'll find a link there. And I believe they're planning to launch them around September 19th, 2023, but that's just a currently planned date. So anyway, I've talked a lot about what we've got in here, but let's look at the keycaps. I think they will speak for themselves. But I tell you that these are pre-release simply because This may not be final packaging, and the keycaps we see here may not be the final shipping product in its final form. So, but you can see we have this plain cardboard box, and we have handwritten on it, titanium black special edition. So these all metal keycaps are available in 7 different colors, each of which is available in 2 different finishes, either glossy or matte. So that's 14 total possible combinations. And then there are 3 special edition versions. There's a gold, a silver, and a titanium black, I believe. And so for 17 total sets, the special editions don't have configurable finishes. We have clearly been given the titanium black special edition here. And I would like to thank Awekeys, of course, for sending over this sample box, so labeled right here, and for sponsoring this video as well. So let's see what we've got inside, examine these keycaps, check out their quality, their luster, all that, and then we'll pop them onto a keyboard and see how they sound versus traditional plastic keycaps. So right off the bat, these are heavy. These are really heavy. This keycap box is the weight of a full keyboard, and a hefty keyboard at that. So if you want to add weight to your keyboard, this is certainly one way to do it. It will also add, of course, unique sound and aesthetic to your keyboard. And I reckon it'll also add a heck of a lot of durability. As well made as many plastic keycaps are, I think these metal ones are going to last longer, last better than any plastic keycap. All right, so let's pop these open, shall we? Okay, so we obviously got to see the keycaps a little bit through this little window. Got it in the front of the box here, but now we can see them all. And at least in this sample box, the keycaps come in a clear plastic tray. So let's lift that out. Because they're so heavy, you gotta be careful about how you hold the plastic tray, because if you hold it just from one end, it kind of wants to just bend and just fall. Because the keycaps have so much weight, so you kind of gotta handle it with 2 hands. Okay, and here is the second layer. And don't worry, we'll look at those first layer keycaps in a moment. And we'll take a closer look at this layer in a moment, but just want to get the box out of the way first. Ooh. You hear that? You hear all the little keycaps making little tinkly sounds, little clinky sounds as they bump into each other. And plastic keycaps won't do that, that's for sure. Okay, let's move this aside. Okay, let's 2-hand this one in so it does not drop and scatter our keycaps everywhere. And let's lift off this lid here. Again, this may not be final shipping packaging. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Okay, so here is our base coverage, and here is our secondary layer, which I know you can only see part of, but one of the nice things about this set, this sample box with the titanium special edition black set, we actually get to see all of the other colors and finishes as well. So we'll take a closer look at those shortly, but let's look at the basic keys here for our special edition titanium black set. So here is one of the keys. These appear to have a matte finish. So this particular special edition has a matte finish. And the finish looks nice and even all the way around. And here we have the legend engraved in the top. Now, I'm not sure exactly how these legends are printed. If I'm being entirely honest, I would guess they're probably laser etched into the finish, but I don't know for certain. What I will say is, to my eye, they look very sharp and clean. And the font choice that they've chosen is a good one. I think it looks nice. It doesn't look overly gamery or angular or anything. I think it looks elegant and professional, as is befitting of such nice keycaps. And you can see the luster is really nice. Really catches the light nicely. And because this is a matte finish, it doesn't actually pick up fingerprints nearly as bad as you might expect. The glossy finishes, well, they might pick them up a little more. If we turn it over, you can see it's pretty thick. And the thickness of these keycaps, you know, it's on par with what you get on a decent quality plastic set, but because it's made of metal, it is so much stiffer. It is very, very robust feeling. No flex. As you can see, I'm squeezing down on it. No flex. We have our standard Cherry MX compatible cross style stem socket here. And we will see how the fitment is once I put these onto a board, put them on some switches. But I'm willing to bet these are made to very tight tolerances, and I don't think it will be too tight or too loose. That's the hope. So a few other things printed in there, actually. I guess we've got R1. I can see down there, which is perhaps indicating the row, although I always forget how the row counting goes. Is it R1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Or I guess it'd be 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe. Maybe just top to bottom like that. Well, let's check another row and see. Yep, that's R1, which it would be, because the top two rows are the same profile. The profile, by the way, is cherry. This is a standard cherry profile, which is a very popular, widely compatible profile. Probably one you're familiar with. Very similar to OEM profile, but just a little bit shorter. But anyone, will probably be right at home typing on cherry profile caps. So here's the tab. And there you go, R2. So yeah, the actual row number is labeled on the underside, which is kind of nice and not something you actually see much on other keycaps. I don't know why, now that I think about it, but it's a nice little addition. And there's an R4. So, that's the base alphanumeric set here with the mods. So you see we have our full F row, our numbers, our standard size modifiers, including the ones down here on the bottommost row. This will cover a standard 60% layout in its entirety. But on our other tray here, we do have some for some less standard layouts. I just wanted to take a look at the space bar here because it's probably one of the more interesting ones. Yeah, what I wanted to see was if it's reinforced underneath, and indeed it is. It's got these little wiggly reinforcers here that provide extra rigidity so that there's no flex or bend this way. But nice luster. Looks pretty clean. Sometimes my camera, I think, struggles a little bit to focus on these. It's like it's all reflections. It doesn't know where. There, I think it's locked in now. It doesn't know where to focus when there's no contrast points. And let's just pull out one more. Let's pull out the W from the alphas here. So we can see how those larger legends are printed. The consistency looks good between keycaps, like the finish looks very consistent between keycaps. The placement of the legends and the styling of the legends also looks very consistent. The luster is quite consistent. So that's our full basic set for a, like you can see it bowing in the middle there, just because of the weight. But let's just do a little shuffle here. Just a little shuffle to bring in our second tray, which is actually perhaps the more interesting of the two. So you can see we have our standard nav cluster over here, our arrow keys right here, our print screen, scroll lock, and pause keys. We have a full numpad right here, so that will get us, this will get us up to, well, if we include these, that's our standard 10 keyless layout. Then including the numpad gets us to a full size layout. And then we do have a handful of additional keys here for less standard layouts. For example, we have a page up and a page down that will fit on, what is this, probably R3, R4? Oh, R2, R3. So there's an R2 as opposed to this page up, or page up, I should say, for R1. So basically this will give us coverage for a 75% layout. That's what I'm getting at here. And here is an R3 page down. As well as a 1U size control function and Alt, because it's not uncommon that on a 75% board you will see shortened left or right hand control function and Alt, as you will see in a moment, because we will be putting these keycaps on a 75% board. And thankfully, they also provide us with several different right shift keys. The typical right shift key is quite long, but we have a shorter one, an even shorter one, and then a really short one right here. And we have ISO coverage with our big chunky enter over here, and our small backslash. So we're pretty well covered here. This should cover basically 60%, 65, 75, 10 keyless, full size, 96% in both ANSI and ISO, which is pretty good. That's pretty good coverage. Can't ask for too much more than that. Okay, but what's really got me excited down here is this bottom row, because here they've given us a whole top row of other finishes of these keycaps. So let's just start. Actually, they've given us, what have they given us? They've given us an F row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No F8 for some reason. That's a mystery. Or F9. But then we have a 10, 11, a 12. We have a tilde. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a rather miscellaneous mishmash of keys. But I suspect that these are maybe not even included in the final shipping product. I'm not quite sure. But I think they're here as demos, right? Because we already have all those keys covered in our actual color of our titanium black here. But these are to show off the various other finishes. So this here is clearly their green color in two different finishes. We have a matte finish on the left and a glossy finish on the right. Both are absolutely beautiful. A lovely saturated green. They call it their emerald green. For my money, I think I like the glossy green here a lot. I think that's very pretty. But both are nice. For our F3 and our F4, we have their ivory white, which has nice silvery legends here. I guess they all have silvery legends, really. The ivory white in matte and in full gloss. We have more special edition keycaps. So this is the titanium black, the silver, and the gold. We've already seen, of course, our titanium black, which comes in this. I wouldn't even call this matte anymore. Having seen the matte keys, I would say it's more of a satin finish. You see, it picks up more light, more luster than the matte finish does, but less than the gloss. So it's like matte, satin, and then full gloss. You can kind of get a feel for it there as I tip them back and forth. So if you're looking to buy some of these and you want to know how the finishes look, hopefully this gives you a nice idea of how each one catches the light differently. And then the gold and silver, it seems, silver and gold are available only in full gloss, which is, fair, because you really want those to shine. And these are so extra. They're so blingy, and they're picking up my fingerprints like nobody's business. But look how cash these are. Like, these are pretty amazing. But yeah, they really do fingerprint up easily and pick up, little imperfections and smudges and stuff pretty easily. But man, if you want to make a statement with your keyboard, just imagine covering it, just coating your whole board in these shiny golden keycaps. It'd be unreal. And then we jump straight here to our F10 and 11, which are their royal blue in gloss on the F10 here and matte on the F11. Again, those glossy ones are just really speaking to me. They are beautiful. And our F12 and F13, these are their mint color. They're mint color keycaps. Now these, I love the look of, like the rest of them, but these, I think I might prefer in the matte. Actually, a nice matte mint color is really quite pleasing. All right. If you want to keep it simple, we've got obsidian black, matte on the left, gloss on the right. This, those glossy ones, they're just speaking to me. They almost look like like piano keys. That shiny glossy black makes me think of piano keys, which is just such a classy look. And then here is their burgundy red, which, yeah, that sounds like a pretty solid color descriptor. It does have that kind of burgundy red look. It's not a super vivid red. It's a little more muted, but I think for that, it's a little more refined in matte or in gloss. Looks a little more vivid in gloss. That's a sort of a general trend here. And finally, I believe these are the lavender color. Lavender. And those are very pretty too. Would be right at home on a nice pastel kind of board. I think I like that one in matte more. I think the vivid ones I like in gloss because you get that nice deep saturated look. And then I think the more pastel ones, I like the matte versions more. But of course, the choice, friends, is up to you. We have 17 different options here, so you can pick what you like. And what I would like is to get these keycaps onto a keyboard. So let's just pop these back in here. Pop these in here. Like so, like so, like so. And there we are. And I will show you the board I'm going to put them on. I wanted something that was heavy and metal. So I'm bringing out this big slab of heavy metal. This is my GMMK Pro. And it's a hefty keyboard. It's got this very thick aluminum frame in black, which of course should look just chef's kiss with these special edition titanium black satinish finish keycaps. And then of course I've got this nice kind of golden brassy knob over here, and you might have noticed, but underneath these keycaps is a brass plate, a very thick, shiny brass plate, which I'll be honest is all about the aesthetics. Brass is a very stiff plate. It makes for a very kind of clacky and not at all flexy bottom out typing sound and feel, which is not really my favorite, but it just looks so good on here. And it's going to look even better with those titanium black keycaps on here. The set you see on here right now is Glorious's GPBT Rainforest set. So this is made of PBT plastic, and it's a reasonable set. It's not bad, but you can see it's got this gradient here, but it is not going to hold a candle in terms of aesthetics and probably typing sound and feel to the all metal set that we have here that we're going to swap on. Just for interest's sake, I'll do a little typing here right now for you to hear with this PBT set, and then we'll do a little comparison with the metal set afterwards. So let's, I'll just type something. Like I said, it's not my favorite sounding or feeling keyboard ever, but it is a looker, and I think it's going to be incredible with those metal keycaps on here. And we will see how they change that sound profile. Oh, the switches, by the way, you're probably wondering. Glorious Pandas, unlubed. So, a fairly strong tactile bump and a little bit scratchy, because they're not lubed. Not a bad switch by any stretch, but that lack of lubrication does hurt them a little bit in the sound and feel department. And I was also thinking about swapping those out for something lubed and a little nicer sounding, but for the sake of comparison, for the sake of a fair comparison, we will put those metallic keycaps on here and see how that affects the sound signature. Okay, well, let's get to swapping these keycaps. And voila, suddenly it's naked. I took off all of those PBT keycaps. I figured you didn't really need to see that whole process, and gave it a little blast with some air and a little dust off with a little brush, just to clean it up a bit. This was a daily driver on my desk for a while, and so it had collected a bit of dust and grime. So I beg your forgiveness if you happen to see a little smudge or a bit of dirt here and there, but it cleaned up pretty good, I would say. So here we are, and you can see, for one, all those glorious Panda switches, and for two, that incredible brass plate. Isn't she a beaut? Oh, I just love the look of that brass plate. So I think that brass plate is going to look even better, gleaming in between these keycaps from Awekeys. So let's just situate the keyboard down there, and let's bring the keycaps in like so. And I know you can't quite see the full set of keycaps, but that's just the limitations of the space we have to work with here. But I think you get the idea. So let's get to work, and I will include all of you for this part of the process in which we put the keycaps onto our switches. Now that's a tight fit, I will say. That was a very tight fit. So we'll see if the others are equally tight, but has quite the feel. I remember from my previous all-metal build. Ooh, that's a tight one. Is it all going to be this tight? Yeah, seems so. Okay, all right. I remember from my previous all-metal build that the metal keycaps, they tend to kind of amplify whatever sound you got going on. And so because we've got this brass plate, which is a very firm bottom out, it definitely amplifies that. You can hear a bit of the inherent resonance and ping in this board is coming through there. And then there's a little ping of their own. The keycaps add a little metallic sound of their own. Listen. You hear what I mean? They add their own metallic element. Anyway, let's get all these on here, and then we will do a proper sound test. And I might do this montage style. Or not montage, but sped up style. So I won't be talking the whole time. Yeah, why don't we do that? And there we have it, my friends. The most heavy, literally heavy metal keyboard I have ever built. This thing is ridiculously heavy. I'm actually really tempted to go weigh it on my bathroom scale, see if it can actually pick it up, and I'll let you guys know if it can, and if so, how much this thing weighs. But like, it was a heavy keyboard to start with, but with these all metal keycaps, it is next level, and it also looks so good, you guys. Look at that luster. Look at that brass plate between those satin finish titanium black keycaps. Isn't that something? And as you can see, despite how much I've been handling them, they don't look too fingerprinty, do they? I don't think they've picked up fingerprints too badly at all. This finish seems to do a pretty good job of repelling fingerprints. You might have noticed through putting these keycaps on there. I did struggle a little bit with some of them. The upper rows, for whatever reason, up here do seem to be a little tighter of a fit, whereas the alphas and these lower rows were not quite so tight on those stems. If you have switches that are a little more delicate, maybe you need to be a little careful when you're putting these on, but I found that they all did go on with a little bit of pressure there to get them on. You might have also noticed I was struggling a bit with my stabilized keys, my backspace especially, and my space bar. When I first put this keyboard together and I did, tuned the stabs, I lubed them up, but I used a pretty heavy grease, like fairly viscous grease. And so they were a little sluggish, as is, like with those PBT keycaps on them. And I always wanted to take them off and redo them with something a little lighter, like a Krytox 205G0 or whatever, but I never got around to it. But with these metallic keycaps, they add their own weight to the keys. And as you can see, between the viscosity of my overlubed stabilizers there and the weight of the keycap, it's not really rebounding properly. Now that is not a keycap issue, that is a me issue. And the space bar is the same boat. It's barely rebounding. Not all the way fully anyway. That is a me issue. Those stabilizers were not well done the first time around, and I will take the time to pull them off of here and remedy that situation so that this beauty will type properly. But I'll do that after, not right now. But it is worth noting that if you are going to be using these keycaps, you probably do want to use a nice light, sheer lube, and you really don't need a whole lot of it when you're lubing your stabs, in order to, make sure that they are springy and sprightly. And if you're using extra light springs or extra light switches as well, it's possible you could run into issues with the weight of like the space bar and the backspace, because they are substantially heavier than your typical plastic keycap. And in that case, you might have to put a slightly heavier switch in on those larger keys, just so that it provides a little more counter force to counteract the weight that keycap puts on it. I don't know if that would really be an issue, but it's just something I could imagine based on what I'm seeing and feeling here with these, very heavily lubed, stabilized keys. So, and then, friends, the sound. If you've ever wanted it to sound and feel like you are typing on just one giant chunk of metal, well, then this is what you want. Let's give it a listen, friends. Well, that one right there, you can really hear. But all of them, you can hear the sound of the metal keycap itself ringing out, which is a very unique sound signature, a very metallic sound signature that you're never going to get with plastic keycaps, obviously. Underneath that higher register metallic sound, they also have a very hearty, thocky element as well. these larger unstabilized keys, especially that right shift, but like the tab, caps lock, they really give these keys a chance to resonate, and you get that metallic element as well. And that might be something you find desirable, or it might not be, but it's certainly unique. It is certainly a unique sound element. Now, I would be curious to hear what these sound like on a very dampened keyboard, something with a lot of, foam and a big squishy gasket mount, and more dampening layers, switch pads, the whole shebang in there. I bet you they'd sound very different. I am very curious to put these on my GMK67 that I built a little while ago, also in black, so I'm sure it would look fantastic on there as well. That board is plastic rather than aluminum though, and it doesn't have that gorgeous brass plate, so I really wanted to put these on here for the aesthetic, you guys, because I think it just looks so dang good. It just looks like $1 million. But yeah, there is a unique sound element to these keycaps that you might want to plan around. If you are looking to build something with these and you want a more dampened sound, you might need additional dampening to get to where you want. On the other hand, if you want to lean into the metallic sound and build, like I have done here, a brass plate and aluminum board, it'll get you there. It is not a quiet keyboard by any stretch. This setup with these keycaps makes a statement, both a visual statement and an acoustic statement. So they're quite something. They are quite something, you guys. If you are interested in picking up some of these Awekeys all metal keycaps for yourself, like I said, you can find a link down at the top of the video description that will take you to a page with more information about them and where you can sign up to be notified when they can be purchased. My understanding is Awekeys is aiming for around September 19th, but as always, these things are, liable to change. So these are, for what they are, for the material, which I haven't actually specifically said. I do not know what the material is. It is a metal alloy of some kind, but none of their materials seem to say, none of their promotional materials, I should say, seem to say specifically what kind of metal these things are made out of. But whatever alloy it is, it's got weight, it's got heft, it's got rigidity, and it's got that sound, that's for sure. But for the material that's being used in here, and the feel and the look of these things, I think they're reasonably affordable. Now, Awekeys has told me that they are aiming for a $149 per set, but that's not yet finalized, and they'll be keeping us updated on the final price. But if you go and you leave your email on that landing page, I'm sure that they will keep you informed as to the final price of these kits, and all that sort of stuff, and final shipping date and all that. So check out that link, sign on up on that list, and also there you can take a closer look at some of the other colors on offer, which we did have a chance to take a little look at here today. But we have all those fun colors, and finish options as well. And you can be guilt-free while doing it because, like I said at the beginning, these are all made from recycled metal, so It's, reduce, reuse, recycle, keeping the carbon footprint down and making use of those materials. Pick some up for yourself. Maybe pick some up for a friend. They probably make a great Christmas gift if you're looking for something that looks and sounds unique and very, very high quality. These things feel fantastic and look fantastic to use. So, thank you, my friends, for watching here. I hope you enjoyed seeing and hearing what the heaviest metal keyboard I have ever used sounds like. Outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. And a big thank you to Awekeys for sending over their all-metal keycaps for us to look at and listen to here today. I appreciate them doing so and for sponsoring this video. And I appreciate you all being here too very much. I hope you found this interesting. I hope you found it relaxing. And I look very forward to having you back here next time. Farewell for now, my friends. Oh, hey there, guys. Congrats on making it to the end of the video where you get to hear end of video Nick doing end of video things, such as thanking these wonderful people, our channel supporters. These delightful individuals support what I do, either through Patreon or through YouTube memberships. And I, for one, appreciate that very, very, very much. So much, in fact, that these fine folks get fun perks, little bonus extras like early access to my weekend videos, amongst other things. You, dear viewer or listener, can check out those perks, see what other fun bonuses you can get, and find a tier that is right for you on my Patreon or YouTube memberships by using the links down below at the top of the video description. There is one particular tier, a very, very extra special tier, that gets an extra special spoken shout out in every one of my videos. Every single one. Imagine that. And you are about to hear our Fusro Da tier members right now. Starting with Odin's Son, Angel Garcia, Jake Luffney, Rango Steel, K Time, Drummer Brit, and Ragnar Ragnarsson. What a great collection of names for a great collection of people. And once again, a huge, huge thank you to all of our channel supporters for their generosity and kind support. And if you aren't interested in being among them, consider checking out those links down in the video description. Thanks again, channel supporters.